this started. Thank you. All right, good morning. This is the fire weather briefing for the state of Washington and North Idaho. It's September 4, 2025. We have Valerie in Spokane and I'm Brent here in Seattle. Before we get going, we have the disclosure that this meeting is being recorded. By joining and participating in this session, consent is being given to the recording. Please keep cameras off per NOAA Privacy Act statement. Okay, as you can see, as we look a week out, it's rather busy. I'll start here for the Western Washington, where today we have critical hot, dry, and unstable conditions. That's has some modest improvement for Friday. Right now it looks to be just elevated, but we will be really checking to see if those critical conditions will remain, because the hot, dry, and stable is stubbornly holding on while we try to get some onshore flow into the Cascades anyway. And then there's a very slight chance of isolated thunderstorms just creeping into the southern tip of the Cascades. So I did want to at least include that. And then, as we'll show, we get a fairly good pattern changes and fairly extended chance of showers, thunderstorms over the weekend, and showers well into probably midweek next week. So Valerie, want to take your side?
Yeah, so similar to Western Washington, for Eastern Washington today, we continue to have a red flag warning out across the Cascades and across Northeast Washington, where we do have ongoing incidents and hot, dry, unstable conditions. Today, there also is a 5 to 10% chance of thunderstorms across the Cascades, which yesterday, under these conditions, there were some pyrocumulus clouds and even some pyrocumulonimbus clouds on the Wildcat Fire, and then the lower Sugarloaf Fire that also produced some lightning strikes. So conditions today will be similar, and also maybe the introduction of some external thunderstorms chances, but confidence in that is pretty low. And then that, as Brent mentioned, tomorrow will trend a little less for hot, dry, unstable conditions, but it'll still be elevated conditions with a continued chance for 5 to 10% chance of thunderstorms across the Cascades. And then for Saturday, we'll start to see temperatures cooling Saturday into Sunday, and even cooler on Sunday, with increase in chance of showers and thunderstorms, and then the shower chances continue into middle of next week. And then for North Idaho, elevated fire conditions for Thursday and Friday, with hot, dry, unstable conditions today. And then even this evening into tomorrow, the northeast winds will pick up with some breezy northeast to east winds tonight, and then also on tomorrow. And then similar shower chances as we go into the weekend and into next week. Thank you.
All right, so looking at the current conditions, which are the most important for the next coming week, we do have red flag warnings for the north and southwest side of the Cascades, zone 658 and 658. That's 659. That's through tonight at this time. And then 696 and 695 on the east side, and then critical also up in the northeast corner. And this is except for the west side, it's through Friday with hot, dry, and unstable atmosphere. The peak of it is today for both Western and Eastern Washington, with some improvement starting tomorrow. Anything else you wanted to add, Valerie?
Oh, you put that pretty good. I just wanted to say there's some thicker smoke across Eastern Washington that may dampen some of the high temperatures for today, especially further south, even across like the Spokane area and Moses Lake area, Northeast Washington. But it does look thin enough across Northeast Washington that it would only be a couple degrees, but that's just kind of some uncertainty that we're seeing with the temperatures for today. But similar for the unstable and dry conditions, would expect similar conditions today uh, as yesterday with pretty unstable conditions across the area.
All right, yeah, and that's a good point. It really is very much, today is very much like it was yesterday. So take a look at the satellite. You can see there's this very strong ridge over the west coast. And the things that will be impacting us besides the hot, dry, and unstable under that ridge is there was a little low pressure system here in Oregon yesterday that's kind of crept up as it moves offshore. It also has moved up a little bit into the southwest corner of Washington. So we've had some clouds, even a few showers down in that corner, but that's going to be moving off and kind of get absorbed into this bigger upper level trough and low pressure system. But this is what's going to eventually move onshore this weekend and kind of hang out over the west coast into next week. And that's why we're looking at the shower chances well into midweek. All right, real quick with the hazards. So we've talked about the red flag warnings, etc., but there are also heat advisories in many of the areas, and especially what you can see in orange. There's a number of products out, so we can't see all of them because there's also some excessive heat warnings, extreme heat warnings out as well. And then the gray is air quality alerts from all the smoke from the wildfires that are taken off. Going on to the weather. Let's take a look at, for day one, these are the high temperatures. On the west side, it's above average, but not super warm, except when you get into the higher elevations and along the Cascade Crest, where they will get it into the low 90s or even mid 90s. And of course, on the east side, some triple digits showing there. Min-RHs, again, it's just along the Cascade Crest and a little bit into the Olympic Mountains where we see min-RHs that are 30% or below, and some places down into the teens, as you can see, especially up in the north Cascades, which is not great news for the Perry Fire. And then also on today, we'll take a look at the winds. And at this point, not much on the west. So Valerie, if you want to talk about temperatures, min-RH, or winds for today.
Yeah, so the heat is peaking today, and we'll see temperatures decrease a bit into tomorrow, but the min-RHs, yeah, and the max Ts will be peaking today, and the min-RHs will be bottoming out today. And we'll start to get a little wetter and cooler as the days go on. But the winds specifically today, we're going to see those northeast to easterly winds pick up this afternoon and evening across North Idaho, and in the Columbia Basin and in the Spokane area. And then, oh, well, first it'll be from the north for the Okanagan Valley and kind of transition eastward through the afternoon, evening, with breeziness peaking this evening and overnight with gusts 20 to 25 miles per hour across those areas. And then that's it for the half for today if you wanted to go into tomorrow.
Hey, here, yeah, just a few degrees shaved off on our side, and looks like maybe on the east side. So not showing the triple digits, so just a little bit further down. Min-RH is up a little bit, and this is what we're questioning on the west side. We might be up into the down 30% bottoming out, but then there still looks like maybe up in the North Cascades it still might be into the 20s. So that's where we have to peel in a little bit closer to see if that's going to be still edging into the critical or not for us. Why don't you go ahead and talk about the east side?
Could you actually go back to day one for Prop Thunder?
Okay.
So I just wanted to mention that while later in the week we'll have higher thunderstorm chances, there is like 5 to 15% chance across our Cascades and even across the just the southern Washington Cascades for today with some isolated thunderstorms. It's not expecting abundant lightning, but there could be some isolated showers or two that could put down some lightning strikes. And that trend also is similar for tomorrow as well. And then kind of more as we get later into the week. And then for temperatures today,
What
sorry,
okay.
I'm bouncing around. um,
You want to do
it's just the
just do it all
thunderstorm chances.
just do the thunders.
Yes, so we'll see kind of the 5 to 15% chance across the southern Washington Cascades and even central Washington Cascades, and then a bit more 20% chance kind of over the Mount Rainier region for today and tomorrow, just very isolated to scattered in nature. And then that kind of becomes a bit more widespread as we get into Saturday when we start to see the next system come through with increase in shower chances across eastern Washington and even western Washington as well.
Yeah, we are expecting widespread, the potential for widespread thunderstorms on Saturday as we get up to even 30% chances there on Saturday. And then Sunday, it starts to move further east. We have a little bit on our side, but much more for east side of the Cascades. If you want to talk about any more on that on day 4.
Yeah, so these thunderstorm chances will also come with some initially the showers will be on the drier side and more isolated, but then as we get into Sunday into early next week, might be a bit wetter under these showers and cooler. So that will just mostly be showers with kind of embedded thunderstorms, and we're just continuing to monitor that potential as the days come through. That's all I
All
have.
right. Okay. So, and just to show that things do improve, day 3 temperatures are down closer to at least closer to normal, if not normal, as I go into the weekend. And same for RH as those come down. The minimum RHs start going up slowly, but then we kind of ease out of the fire weather concerns for that. And with those thunderstorm and shower chances, that really doesn't show up until day 3 for Saturday. You can see up to a tenth, maybe some locally a quarter inch for some at least slight chances of some waning rains in the Cascades. Then if you look at days 4 and 5, you're starting to see upwards of close to an inch, maybe in some locations, and a little more widespread rains throughout the Cascades over the weekend. So let's look at some trends at some specific sites for the west side. We'll go back to Hosemine up in the North Cascades where some of the driest and unstable conditions are. And as you can see, some pretty high temperatures today, but you also see the trend just a little bit cooler each day through the weekend, and then just kind of staying pretty mild next week. Same thing with the relative humidities. We dip into the teens today, and then even still the low 20s, and just slowly improving through the week until early next week, where we stay more stable. And even the overnight recoveries, not poor, but well, poor to moderate maybe, not great, but then we start seeing a more normal, excellent recoveries later in the week. And that's commensurate with the precip chances and a lot more cloudiness over the weekend and into next week. So then we will move over to the east side, and let's see if I get this one. Dry Creek. There we go. You want to talk about east side, Valerie?
Yeah, so for Dry Creek and just this kind of encompasses all of central Washington's trends is today temperatures will be peaking and we'll start to see the trend downwards to much cooler conditions as we get into Sunday. And maximum RH's recoveries will be kind of fair on the cusp of poor to fair, especially across the mid slopes and the ridge tops through Saturday. And then we start to see better recoveries pretty good as we get into Sunday as well, and that trend continues. For winds across central Washington today through Saturday, we will see kind of those diurnal shifts with easterly winds in the afternoons, kind of changing to southerly to westerly, and to in the evenings with the push of more northwest winds in the evenings, and then back to the easterly position into the valleys, up valley in the afternoons. But then as we get into later in the week, we'll kind of see mostly predominant direction from the west northwest with those cooler and showery conditions, and an increase in cloud cover as well. And then if we go to Tacoma Creek or northeast Washington, yeah, mostly just similar trends. We will see maybe a little holding on to those warmer temperatures into a little longer into Sunday with highs in the lower 80s, which will still feel much cooler compared to what we have been experiencing the last several days. But these valleys will see good recoveries overnight through this weekend, with more of the poorer recoveries on the mid slopes and the ridge tops. And then this afternoon and evening doesn't really show up on this graphic, but we will see a push of more breezier northeasterly winds this evening, and kind of remaining through that through the period, and then just increasing chances of showers as we get later in the week, and kind of remaining elevated through the middle to end of next week as well. So definitely just get through these next couple of days with some elevated, even critical fire weather conditions, and then we'll start to see a decrease in the fire weather conditions Sunday onward. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. So we'll end up here with the outlook. So through the mid part of September, we're still looking at elevated probabilities of warmer than normal temperatures and also above normal precip. So that would kind of point to maybe some of that troughiness returning or remaining over the western part of the country, at least in the north. Something like that would bring in some higher chances above normal precip. We're still in September, but so the amounts aren't huge, but they are definitely, at least on the west side, the average precip starts picking up pretty well through the month of September. So that's starting to look a little more potentially impactful on the fire weather. We will end the discussion there and end the recording, and we will take any questions.